Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be in English and I'm going to talk about how did learning languages help with my mental health. So basically I've been struggling with my mental health for a few years now, and this last year it got worse, unfortunately. And my main problem is with anxiety, because I have anxiety and I've always had anxiety my whole life, but I've been able to manage it. I've been able to live despite of it, and I've been able to achieve a lot of different things like graduating, working different jobs and so on. But last year, after graduating, I started to work as a teacher, and I had another job and I had another like side hustle, let's say it like that, or another project, and it was difficult to manage all of this. So unfortunately, after like 5 months, I kind of was burnt out and my anxiety got worse, and I started to have panic attacks and a lot of strange symptoms, physical symptoms of anxiety, which back then I did not know it was anxiety, so it was making me freak out totally. And so this made me stop working, and I started therapy like a few months ago, so now I'm better. But it was very challenging, and anxiety, or like this kind of anxiety panic disorders, are very debilitating. They can make you stop working because it's just too much to handle, and it's very scary. But once you learn that it's just anxiety and actually it's just adrenaline, it helps a lot. Even though you can still have some little symptoms, it's a whole journey and it's a long process to make your brain understand that you're not in danger, you're fine, there is no threat. And so yeah, it's what I've been going through, and I wanted to talk about how languages helped me with my mental health and how it somehow like had a huge role in my recovery journey. So let's get started. First of all, learning different languages or being able to speak in different languages helped me a lot, because it gives me access to so many different books that are not necessarily present or available in my first language. So this gives me access to a lot of information, and this really helps a lot. It's the same with therapy, because personally I had such severe anxiety that caused some agoraphobia, which means that I am so afraid to go outside. And now it's better and I can go outside, but in the past, like a few months ago, it was so difficult. So I couldn't go to therapy, like to a place to see a therapist, so I was doing it online. And usually these services are available only in English, so if I was not an English speaker, I wouldn't even be able to do therapy. And of course this would have been so like difficult for me. So this is one of the first like good points that I would say, and they are making knowing another language very useful for mental health. Another thing is that when you struggle with mental health, usually you have a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of uh, rumination, a lot of catastrophizing. So you're seeing life in a very negative way, and you feel like nothing is going to get better, or nothing is gonna change. It's like you're stuck in a lamp and it's always the same, you know. So it's very difficult to get out of that, and your brain is so used to think that way. So for me, learning a new language was like breaking that cycle, because I have to think a different way. I have to focus on memorizing something new. I have to, you know, try to find some ways to express myself. So it somehow gave my brain another task that is not worrying, you know, because when you have anxiety, basically the whole time you're worrying. Even if you're doing something, there is this back noise in your head that is like, what if this, what if that? So learning a new language is very helpful because it gives you something to focus on, and usually it's very rewarding, because when you remember a word, or when you know how to say a new sentence, this gives you some sense of accomplishment, like, oh, I can do this now and people can understand me, you know. It's very rewarding, and this brings some positivity to your life. Another thing is that when you're learning a new language, your brain changes, and this is exactly what we want when we are going through mental health issues, because like I said before, your brain is used to function or work in the same way, and by learning a new language you're somehow changing this. And actually learning a new language creates connections in your brain, new circuits, and this helps a lot with neuroplasticity. And also it helps you become more creative, because for example, if you want to say something and you don't have the vocabulary, you will try to find ways to say it in a different way, and this makes your brain like work and think. And yeah, it helps you have a lot of like creative ways to say different things, and I feel that this helps a lot. It's also very helpful because it gives you an attainable like challenge or goal, because for example, if you struggle with anxiety or depression, usually you don't have that much energy to do anything. Having a language that you want to learn is like a challenge that is attainable, in the sense that you don't need to go outside. You can learn by yourself at home, or follow some videos, or do some online classes. So you know, you can be in the comfort of your home and learn a new language, and this will like open your mind, you know. And it is a challenge that you can actually take, and you can actually reach the goal of being able, for example, to just introduce yourself in a language, and this can take you maybe 3 days or something, you know. So it's very attainable, and you don't need too much energy for that. So I would highly recommend that. Another thing that is very special about learning a new language is that it opens your mind, and it widens your vision, and it makes you realize that there's so many words and things that you don't know yet. And so it makes you realize that there is so much in the world that you have not yet discovered. So many words, so many ways of seeing life, so many perspectives. Because when you learn a new language, you understand that there are so many different ways of living the life, or interpreting different life situations, or just the way that the sentences are made. It makes you realize that there are different systems of thinking within a language, and usually the language of a people gives you an idea of their mentality. So this is very, very interesting, and I think you can find a lot of different videos talking about this on YouTube because it really makes sense when we think about it. I don't know if you guys get me, but it's like, for example, in English we would say like I got a cold, okay? In French it's the same. But in other languages they would say it and phrase it in a way that is like the cold hit me, you know? So this is very interesting because it tells a lot about the mentality of the people and, for example, how they would consider something as something that is external and that happens to them, or something that they do, you know. All of these things, I find them very interesting, and that's why learning a new language is fascinating and it really opens your vision. And other than all the different things I mentioned, another way that languages helped with my mental health is that, like I said before, and sorry I'm repeating myself, but like I was struggling with anxiety, so I was unable to go outside. Lately I'm improving, I'm able to go for walks, but still I did not see my friends for so long because of all of this. But like being in a community in which people learn different languages and come together online on Zoom or anything helped me a lot to not feel like fully isolated, because when you struggle with your mental health, usually you would isolate yourself and you will be alone, and this does not help at all with the different thoughts that are very negative, and you feel like no one cares about you, no one loves you, you are not interesting, you know, you have a lot of different negative thoughts. But when you have this kind of activities where you go online and you talk to different people in different languages, it gives you some sense of you know, like, oh, I'm actually doing something, oh, I'm speaking well, oh, I'm improving in this. And again, it does not require from you too much effort, because you just go and you attend, and if you want to talk, you talk, if you don't want to talk, you don't talk, you know what I mean? So this personally, it helped me a lot, because if I was not learning any language, I wouldn't like find any space to gather with other people and talk about a specific topic, because I don't know like what it would be if it was not languages. Because languages are very interesting, and it makes so many people from so many different places in the world come together and talk in a specific language or about a specific culture. And again, this makes you widen your vision, and this is exactly what we need when we're struggling with mental health, because mental health issues like anxiety and depression, it narrows everything and it makes everything small. So being able to like talk to other people from other places who have different lives, who have different daily routines, who have different mindsets, it really, really helps. So this is why I think, yeah, learning languages really helps with mental health. And again, you don't need to go to a certain place, you don't need to spend so much money. You can learn at home, you can watch YouTube videos, and one day you will be able to like recognize a specific word and learn some vocabulary, and this gives you a lot of positive emotions. Like I said before, it's very rewarding. So yeah, for me these are the benefits of learning languages for the mental health. And if you're in this journey also of mental health, you're not alone, and if you want to talk about it, feel free to comment. I will answer everyone, because this is a very important topic, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because my channel is about languages, but I feel like I don't want it to be just about learning a language. I want it to be about human beings, about stories, about struggles and problems that we have to face. So, yeah, I hope this helps, and let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video, or if you found it interesting, or if you are maybe learning a language and see the benefits of it on your mental health. Thank you so much for watching. I know this video is not perfect, it's definitely not scripted. I just had the idea and I thought, okay, let me just film it, so maybe it's not so structured, but I hope the message reaches you. And I'm trying to tell myself it's better done than perfect. So lately I'm doing a lot of imperfect things, but I think it's very helpful to do that in order to keep going and to just, do something, because I want to express myself. And if I wait until it's perfect, I will never do it. So that's why I'm doing it in the most imperfect way, but I hope it's useful despite that. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.